The PWC Network. What the world is watching and listening to.
Here comes Perez because the clock hit 0. Perez cutting off James, and wow! Nasty scope for James. Hartwell just starting to move. Perez saw the clock. Perez doesn't have a fall, boy.
Vic, this is just the first match. And I almost can't talk anymore. Come on, Roxanne. You can do it.
Perez flying through the air. High cross body. Connects perfectly, and there's Jade. Jade out of nowhere, breaking up the count.
Jade's always trying that thorn in Roxanne's side. She doesn't want to see Roxanne succeed in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And I get it. Two young generation seals. Oh, man.
Behind Stark might have just knocked out Perez and Stark now. Could be looking for her second fall on Perez. If she can connect, Perez goes up, goes over, goes around, shoulders down.
She got it.
Oh, couldn't break the count. Alba Fire was on the cusp of winning the NXT Women's Championship. And Dawn looking for...
Heck, I'm learning something tonight about all the Dawn. Oh, wow.
Near fall. Fire able to turn things around once again. And I don't know if maybe Alba Fire came into this match a little beautiful, but now
coming from the heavens, Vic.
This is the moment for Fire. Did you see Fire land and grab her ribs? Did you see her take that deep breath? And the official I think McDonough grabbed Axiom, and is this wise? Axiom turned his attention to McDonough.
May not be wise, but this is payback. I get it. I understand. Right now, Axiom has an axe to grind, and he's doing it.
They're fighting in the penalty box. Ooh! Well, Axiom getting the better of that exchange. And now, refocusing. Oh, jeez. But at what cost, though? Axiom just cost himself some time.
This is not about winning right now for Axiom. Axiom is caught in the moment. Right now, he's got JD on the mind.
Hall of Fame panel described Waller as rude, arrogant, and cocky. And you could say the same about Carmelo Hayes. Apollo in this moment just became a different version of Apollo Crews. We got to think, look, we talk about visions, we talk about going back to 2015. This is what Apollo Crews came back here to do. He came back to become the NXT champion, and he might have just done it in a near fall breaker able to kick out.
I feel like you've been held down. This is what happened right here. The beast come out of you. And right now, I must say, this is a different Apollo Crews. I don't know this guy right here. This is a different guy.
And looking to complete the trifecta of German suplexes and quickly Cruz right back into the cover. Another hook of the leg and breaker again. Able to kick out at 2. But the eyes book of Apollo Crews. We haven't seen this in June.
I don't know this guy, but I like him. I like him a lot.
podcasting in the world. We're gonna put butts in seats and ears to the streets. And now, here are your hosts, Jimmy T and Jeff Lippman.
You're on mute, baby. Your microphone's muted. There you go.
Let's do that again. Take two. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PWC NXT DeadLine review show. Screw you, Jeff. I'm your host, Jimmy T, and my
The
co-host,
DJ.
Yes, that's right, the DJ. But this guy is the pain in the backside, but he's always around. It is Dr. Jeff Evil Double PLE Dose once again. Welcome back to the PWC, and stop being an annoying fuck.
No. And this is the second PLE pay-per-view that we are covering today. And this is my third wrestling podcast of the day.
You know what, man? I'll buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1.
Does that mean you're the first dude to get $3?
I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow, won't we?
Oh, we will. And shout out to the Dollar Club guys. Go check them out at Dollar Club Wrestling. And Homeboy, yes, it's Homeboy Shivani. It was you, bro. It was you. Thank you. And he says, hey, Putin. Oh, man. He's funny. Anyway, Jeff, what'd you think of NXT DeadLine, dude? And a lot of things have happened since DeadLine and today, I guess, when it comes to NXT with Mandy Rose and everybody and whatnot. And we got a new NXT Women's Champion in Roxy.
Yeah. Wow. We talked about the Mandy Rose situation a lot during our final battle review. So,
Right.
At the risk of sounding brisk, I don't think we need to rehash it. Just check out that show. If you don't care about Final Battle, just listen to the first part, because the first part really was us talking about the news of the last few days, though we didn't talk about Roxanne Perez winning the title. As far as DeadLine is concerned, so NXT, you get nice 2.5-hour shows. This was in the same range. I don't watch the pre-show. You don't have to. They don't have any. They don't have any preliminary matches or anything like that. We had expressed reservations but cautious optimism about the Iron Survivor matches. In my opinion, that was rewarded. I think both of those matches were good and fun, even though I didn't, necessarily like who the competitors were entirely. We had a controversial women's match, but that I like. There was what I call the good clowns versus the bad clowns, but this match actually over delivered, or maybe exactly delivered, with pros like the New Day and Pretty Deadly, and a title match which was, well, what you would thought it'd be. It was anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you can. Yes, I can. With a weird break in the middle where Apollo had one of those visions where he goes, which is weird because in his prior visions, he won the title, but spoiler alert, he didn't. But I thought DeadLine overall was a good show. I don't think it was a great show, but I think the Iron Survivor.
It was a fun show.
Yeah, and I think the match was a winner, and I think that this match type, A, it can be longer, and B, I think it can and should be duplicated, and we finally have a new type of match in wrestling that I think is workable and fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I thoroughly enjoyed DeadLine. It was different. Let me put it that way. It was completely different to say Final Battle. There were two different shows completely, in my opinion.
Completely different. I mean, they're not even trying to be in the same. Though you could argue some of the people on Final Battle are developmental talents, or should be, as well. And that's not necessarily a knock on them. It just is.
No.
But yeah, I I like DeadLine, but yeah, I mean, it's completely different shows. I mean, it's more different than watching like a Marvel superhero movie and a DC superhero. I don't know why, but it's just a very different feel. I guess it's like more like watching like I don't know. Like, remember how gritty
and pro wrestling?
Well, it's sort of like there's been watching like
I'm saying that's
NYPD Blue and
right.
like NCIS.
Yeah, similar but not the same, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into it, actually, Jeff. Let's just get right on into it.
Let's do it.
It is your NXT Women's Championship #1 contenders Iron Survivor match between Cora Jade, Indy Hartwell, Kiana James, Roxanne Perez, Zoe Stark, and man, you know what? This was good. I mean, Zoe Stark earns her first fall by pinfall with her flipping facebuster on Roxanne Perez. But then after that, we get Cora Jade earning her first fall by pinfall with a schoolboy pin on Kiana James. And then later on, we get Indy Hartwell getting her pin with a big boot on Roxanne Perez. And then Roxanne Perez earns her first fall by pinfall with a leg trap sunset flip on Zoe Stark. And Roxanne Perez ends up winning and earning her second fall by pinfall with Pop Rocks on Cora Jade. And like I was saying, Roxanne Perez wins to become your #1 contender to the NXT Women's Championship. And I believe the final scores were 2-1-1-1-0. Obviously, Roxanne with a 2.
And Roxanne Perez won from the #1 position, which, I mean, there's no difference between #1 and #2, really. But she was the #1 position. Indy Hartwell was the weak part of the match. I actually think the strong part of the match was the woman who got 0, was Kiana James. She was all over the place.
She was good. She
was great. Surprisingly great. She's surprisingly athletic. I mean, her act is so good. Her act is so funny. I keep calling it porn-tastic, and it really is. It's like
very much so.
It's like D-level soap opera acting and her assistant and all that. But people think I'm mocking it. I don't. I love every part of it. Truly, I love the whole thing. I love the character. I love the fact that she's obviously bought the loan on Fallon's family's bar, probably their farm too, and putting liens on. And she's the Doctor Doom behind the curtain. But yeah, this match was fun. One of the things that struck me. First of all, we were right. Remember, we talked about how the rules seem very awkward, but I think once we see it, it will make more sense, and it did. The match was easier to watch than to say the rules, and they make sense retroactively, which is good, and the booking was good. This was not King of the Mountain. Everyone was afraid this was going to be King of the Mountain. The one drawback is they didn't say until the men's match what would happen in the event of a tiebreaker, and that was a very easy outcome, especially when this was like a soccer score. It was like 2-1-1-1-0, and as it turns out, it would be sudden death, not like an additional 5-minute period, or so. It was just sudden death, first to get a fall, which doesn't make much sense if it's the first person to get a fall, and I guess it resets at 0-0, so that needed a little bit more fleshing out. Luckily enough, or skillfully enough, they didn't book it that way. Spoiler in either match, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good match. Again, Indy wasn't great. But it's not like she ruined it. She's just not as good as the other ladies, and which is weird because she's been there probably the longest.
It's true, and I think she's a lot better than what we see. But for whatever reason,
you're so defensive of your Aussies.
Get fucked. No, that's bullshit, man. I'm the first to
good idea. I think I will get fucked.
Well, maybe you should. Where's Lasakari? I mean, anyway.
Lasakari, how you feeling
it's
tonight?
Not good. Exactly. Anyway, but let's get back to the wrestling though, instead of going there. But anyway, look, this match was quite fun. You can. I mean, you can make it a menage a trois, right? I mean, geez.
With
but
who?
Anyway, that's a good question. Anyway, stop telling me off, Jeff.
It's a pretty important question.
Well, I don't know, man.
You,
maybe Homeboy.
No.
I didn't say me. Hey, you said me. I didn't say me. But anyway, how about
I don't know who you're suggesting.
I'm suggesting
the
nobody.
Sun, because that's a no and weird.
Oh, jeez.
sick. You're a sick cunt.
Oh, no, you're the sick cunt. Literally. Anyway, let's move on, folks.
That's not how literally.
We get a video. Well, anyway, we get a video package for Pretty Deadly in Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. An interview backstage by Mackenzie Mitchell in frankly gorgeous confection. Oh, God. Anyway, they're bummed about Julius Creed not being cleared, but they talk about going or looking forward to bonding as a team. Kaden Carter and Katana Chance roll up to compliment them on looking out for each other. They bicker gently and seem to set up a little title match. Anything? You all right there, Jeff?
Yes.
Anything to report?
This was not exactly good, but it did set up a match. This was porntastic acting without the need to be porntastic. So I don't know.
Right.
Kaden and Katana have been there a long time for their lines to feel so forced. I don't know.
I feel you, dude. I totally feel. I couldn't care less at all what I was hearing, dude. You know what I mean? Honestly.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, and listen, Pretty Deadly is pretty great, and they know what they're doing. It just hasn't been the same without Lash Legend, and she's doing nothing without them. I don't know.
Where is Lash Legend right now? She was around, right?
Well, she was on NXT last night. She was talking big, and and then Elektra Lopez was talking big, and then Indy Hartwell came and attacked Elektra Lopez. So Lash was sort of featured, but then a background player. I mean, she's sort of lost without Pretty Deadly. I understand why they want to invest in Lash Legend. She's got big personality. She's a tall, big, athletic woman. She's not great at wrestling, but she can learn to get better. But her and Pretty Deadly together, it was amazing. I mean, I don't know why. Just as a group, as a menage a trois, they worked. It was magic. It was on-screen magic. Put them together again. I demand it.
Yeah, I agree, man. I like Pretty Deadly just quietly. I mean, seriously. I've said it for a long time that I think they've got potential. Sure, they're British, annoying sort of dudes, but nevertheless, I think they've got potential. They do remind me of the, what do you call it, man? The Beverly Brothers a little bit.
Honestly, they remind me of the New Day with accents and, more on the flamboyance versus the child. I mean, the New Day's whole act is basically, we're really great, overgrown teenagers. And these guys we're flamboyant, over the top, prissy boys, but we're really great too, with a little bit of the chicken shit put into it. But I called this match, which is not the next match, right? But I called it the Clown Show, the good clowns versus the bad clowns. But it sort of was. But anyway, we're going out of order because the next one. But I agree. I appreciated it. Pretty Deadly. I'm learning to appreciate them more and more. I wish they were a little bit bulky.
Well, Mr. Yuck says on YouTube in the chat, Pretty Deadly are the full package as a tag team in a landscape where tag matches have been subpar lately. Do you think they'll transition well on the main roster? Hopefully they don't break up. I actually think they can transition really well on the main roster, Jeff.
I think so too. And actually, I think that they would be maybe a way to, save Maximum Male models by replacing the existing models, with them. They could sort of do that. It's sort of the same lane, but they could actually be a team that wins. They work really well together as a team. Again, I just wish they would bulk up a little bit. Not a lot. They don't have to get.
Yeah, they need to bulk up. They do.
They like Cody bulked up, not like freaking Brian Cage or any or
no. Even like a Seth Rollins built up, not current Seth, but like at his peak sort of Seth.
5 years ago, Seth.
Right. Not that. Chris Willen also says in the chat, yes, boy, breakout tag team of the year, Pretty Deadly rules. Seems like our listeners love Pretty Deadly.
I mean, they've got a lot of personality. They listen. They know their job. They know their role. They do it well. I'm not sure if they're breakout tag team of the year. I think I'd probably still have to go with the Acclaimed on that one. But I haven't really given my year-end awards much thought yet. So I mean, Pretty Deadly is definitely in the thought process.
Interesting. Well, let's move on to the next matchup. It is Alba Fire versus Isla Dawn. It always reminds me, always sounds like Abaddon. I hear, Jeff.
It's Isla.
Why do I... Right, well, whatever. Isla Dawn, it sounds like Abaddon. I think, is this done on purpose, dude? Because it does strike me as kind of odd and too coincidental, shall I say.
I doubt it. I'm sure she came up with the name, and she was probably using it in the UK and never heard of Abaddon. But can I say something about this match?
Please do.
I heard a lot of people hating on this match. I fucking love this match. I fucking love Isla Dawn. She owns that character. Her facial expressions, her mannerisms, her moves. She segues between feline and like stripper to sacrificial, sacred, ritualistic dancing. It's seamlessly, like it's all natural. Like she really is a Wicca or something. And when she's in pain at work, she's got that same evil look and that same sort of presence that sort of Rhea Ripley does when she does the, sort of like the Black Panther pose on the edge of the ring when Judgment Day comes in. Sort of how Swerve, sort of like gets down seamlessly down to, below his knees, like he's down there, but it doesn't seem like there's any effort in the bounce. Just all of her movements great. I know people love Alba Fire. I don't love her. I mean, I think she's a fine worker. To me, she's just a female John Moxley, straight ahead, I'll beat you up, tough guy, babyface heel, no difference in her character. I also think for a young woman, she looks 10 years older than she is, which is not great in show business, but she's fine. She can work. I'm so glad Isla Dawn won. I'm so glad it was the same referee, because remember, he got misted with goo a week ago. And then whatever she did, her spell was on time release, or she triggered something, or she hit a nerve, or she brought a charm with her, but whatever it was, she triggered it at the right time. It caught up on him, and he couldn't breathe, and he's spitting up the black mist. I know people hate the mystical stuff. Nah, you love the Undertaker and Kane. Shut up. You love Kevin Sullivan. You don't hate the mystical. You just think you're cool now. Be quiet. It's awesome. She used the bot. Just this match was great. It wasn't too long. She cheated. She owns the character. Chef's kiss. Isla Dawn is a star.
Isla Dawn's a star, Jeff says. Wow. Homeboy in the chat says on YouTube, attention, the Homeboy 88 podcast is re-releasing the ECW series with Jimmy T. Part 2 is up right now. Whoa, that feels like an eternity now, Homeboy. What was that, like 2 years ago already? But yeah, that was a great show, man. Check it out, no doubt. Anyway, let's move on.
I like the sucking up also by pointing out the Jimmy T's on those shows.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm due to be on the Homeboy 88 podcast. Go check him out. Anyway, we get a New Day. We get a New Day backstage segment where they say it's surreal to be here, and they're going to fight pretty deadly because they're looking for the best competition, and they're looking to become Triple Crown Tag Champs. It's not easy to come across the pond and win gold, but the thing is, they're going to leave this arena as the NXT Tag Team Championships. What was that? Was that Dynamite in the background here?
Yes, it's my TV not wanting to pause.
Spoiler alert. Quietly. What are you doing, Jeff?
I don't know why pause won't work.
Hey, you D.
Well, mute works.
Why won't pause work?
I can't explain
Well,
why
get
pause
that
won't
shit going, Jeff. Get that shit going.
Anyway, keep going. Don't bother you. I hit mute.
Well, anyway, we've got the NXT Tag Team Championships up on the line next. Actually, and before we do get a... Oh, no, I already said about the pre-match talking. But anyway, it is the New Day. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus Pretty Deadly in Elton Prince and Kip Wilson, your NXT Tag Team Champions. I love this match, Jeff. This was awesome. Probably the match of the night.
I'm not going to call it match night, but it was a fun match. The only thing I don't like is when Kip Wilson, or whatever the name is, when one Pretty Deadly guy threw the belt to the other guy. You know, you're supposed to throw it to the other guys, but I guess that was the Guerrero tag team spots, and you know they all fell down. So that was a crowd spot. That was an homage. That's fine. I mean, I could go 3 or 5 more years without there being another Eddie Guerrero homage spot in wrestling. It's more than played out, but yeah, this is a fun match. These teams worked well together, especially for teams that probably haven't worked together that much before. And you know, I was not picking this after. You know, if people remember, I wasn't sure who was going to win this match. I thought that Pretty Deadly would retain but not win. I wasn't sure who was going to interfere. After SmackDown, I was pretty sure it was going to be Imperium because that seemed to be where it was going. But I'm not shocked because they've had main roster people come down before and get titles. Dolph Ziggler had a title. Charlotte was down here. This has happened before. So, okay. So let's see. It's good for the tag team division on the main roster finally has more than 3 tag teams. So it's not like New Day was in the picture or anything. So let them be the beta test, the gatekeepers, the player coaches, the guys who say, yeah, they're ready for the big time. No, they need more work, but we'll work with them. So it's all good. Win, win, win. And Kofi now is the first triple crown winner in both singles and tag team wrestling.
That's right. But where do we go here with New Day? Do we keep them on NXT for a while, or do they still appear on the main roster?
I mean, I don't think it does NXT a lot of favors to have them long-time champions there. I don't know if they drop them.
They look like they were enjoying themselves. So.
Well, they're always looking like they enjoy themselves. I mean, there's a reason why they sell a lot of merchandise and why they're always... I don't know. A long time, no. New Day will be on the WrestleMania card, and Kofi is in the Rumble. So, that doesn't mean New Day won't also be in NXT. But I would say, as a team with the titles, certainly less than half a year, probably less than a quarter.
Oh, interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, as I said, the New Day win the NXT Tag Team Championships by pinfall with the Midnight Hour on Elton Prince in a pretty great matchup. Like I said, just maybe the match of the night. Anyway, we go back to the back where we get Kaden Carter and Katana Chance run into Idris how do you pronounce his last name again? Is it Enofi? That's it.
Chirisica.
Enofi, Idris Enofi, Malik Blade, and Odyssey Jones backstage. The girls invite them to hang out with, but Jones says they're going to train a little more so they can get stuff done. As Gigi Dolan and JC Jane roll up to give the champs guff for offering a title match to Ivy and Tatum. When in face, they beat them in a trios match a few weeks ago. Noel and Paxley attack from behind. Enofi and Blade return to pull them apart. And that closes the segment, Jeff. Anything to really say about this?
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. The less I see Jensen, the better.
Fair enough. Well, excuse me. Well, I'm not going to say much about this because the next matchup was pretty much a banger, Jeff. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this match. And I don't know if it's my surprise, but you say I bang about my Aussie people, supposedly. But it was my boy Grayson Waller with the victory because the next matchup, it is Axiom versus Carmella Hayes versus Grayson Waller versus JD McDonough versus Joe Gacy for the NXT Championship No. 1 Contenders Iron Survivor match. And it starts off with Carmella Hayes getting the first pinfall on Axiom. Then Grayson Waller earns his first by pinfall with a lateral press on Axiom. And then again, Waller gets his second pinfall with a lateral press on McDonough. As Axiom then gets his first pinfall with a victory roll pin on Grayson Waller. Then Axiom gets his second with a golden ratio on McDonough. But Joe Gacy finally gets his first fall by submission with the Rings of Saturn. But Gacy gets his second. Carmella Hayes by a pinfall. And then Hayes gets his second with a trap crossface on Whaler. But Grayson Whaler earns his third fall by pinfall with a lateral press on Axiom. As Whaler wins 3-2-2-2-0, becoming your number one contender for the NXT Championship, Jeff. Were you impressed? Are you excited?
I'm not excited because I don't love Grayson Waller, and I don't think. I mean, I see the personality. He also needs to thicken up, bulk up quite a bit, but I don't think he's that good a wrestler. He has basically two moves. One is where he runs out of the ring, slides back in, and hits a cutter, and then like a couple others. His elbow is pretty weak, but it was a surprise. I picked Mello. So let me say three good things about or around this match, because I think you covered it pretty well. In the NXT prior, they did the Grayson Waller effect with all five of the contestants. And I normally hate the Grayson Waller effect. No surprise based on what I just said. But while this one started with me thinking it's a cringe fest and it's just going to be these bros being bro-like and then being enemy bros, no, they started talking about strategies. And they started talking about what position they wanted to be coming in, and Axiom's I want to be one so I can maximize my attempts of getting pinfalls and victories. And then Joe Gacy had a whole elaborate reason why 4 was the best, and I really appreciate that because it made some of those rules that got crystallized for me. I enjoyed hearing about the strategy, so that worked very well for me. Another thing is on commentary, there were a few times during this show where Vic caught Booker not paying attention, and Booker would say something, well, that's when you gotta grab the brass ring, or that's what it's all about, and this is Booker what you gotta do. But Vic goes to Booker, what do you think about Axiom? Are you impressed with his methodical approach to this match? And Booker goes, methodical? What are you talking about? He's not doing anything to try and win this match. He's not scoring pinfalls. He's not even going for pinfalls. All he's doing is trying to get revenge for his... And Booker, exactly. Vic, you dumbass. Booker schooled you is exactly right. And that was the story of Axiom in the match that Vic completely missed. And frankly, we would have missed it if it wasn't for Booker probably being completely candid. Axiom was just there for revenge on J.D. McDonough for what he did to his knee, which is stupid for the character whose name is Axiom and is the math guy. He's, shouldn't be ruled by his emotions. So that's character inconsistency on the dopey character. I mean, again, we got Axiom, we got script. Soon we're going to get the giant lesbian that's going to be gym teacher. Then we're going to get, the leader of the faction will be principal. Instead of Paul Heyman, they'll have a guidance counselor. I mean, we'll have a whole middle school roster of NXT wrestling characters there. They can all apply for early admission and chase you or Drew Gulak's University, whatever it is. Anyway, but those are my three things that were adjacent. It was a surprise, and I thought this match was good. And this one, unlike the women's match, was higher scoring. There were more pinfalls, and I did think Grayson Waller getting 2 pins basically immediately was clever, and I thought that was a clever move and unexpected. So
absolutely,
I enjoyed both of them. They were very different matches in the same match. They could easily go longer.
High tempo, both of them.
They could easily be 35 minutes. I just wish that they had a better rule for if there was a tie. It shouldn't be sudden death. You shouldn't lose all your points and start over. I mean, it should be. It should only be sudden death if the person in the lead wins, but the match should continue until someone has the most, whether that's 3 or 4 or whatever it is, and then you can make the match go as long or short as you want based on how it's going, and you can call audibles, and that's why you had 4 refs out there.
It's true, absolutely. You know what, man? I'm not going to lie, Grayson Waller is starting to grow on me, man. I'm starting to like him a lot.
I'm not surprised in the least. You are an Australian mark.
Not because he's an Australian, no. Not because of that. At first I didn't like him, no. It has nothing to do with that. I'm always the first to give shit to my... Come on, man. The only one that's worth talking about right now...
By the way, Chris Jericho just lost to some 5'8" nobody.
Who's this 5'8" nobody?
I don't even remember his name. And Jericho's arm is bleeding, of course.
That's funny. Of course he is. I mean, we might as well call him Chris Moxley at this point. He's another one that loves bleeding. But you got to take your hat off to the Ocho or Le Champion because, I mean, the dude just came straight back from Australia, bang onto Dynamite like nobody's business. I mean, to be able to do that at his age, you're a legend, man. Straight up.
Cocaine. What?
It's a hell of a drug, Jeff. It does that to you, indeed. But yeah, like I said, I feel like there's momentum though with
breaking
Grayson
news.
also, Jeff.
Henry Cavill is no
What?
longer returning as Superman. So welcome to the Marvel Universe, Mr. Cavill.
Okay, there you go. Breaking news. Right here on the PWC Network. Anyway, like I said, I feel like there's momentum with Grayson. I feel like the fans are starting to like lean towards him also.
They're
And I
starting
think
to hate him the way
something-
they're supposed to hate him.
Right, but he's starting to get good at being hated. Like he knows what he's doing, dude. Like
He's always been good at being
gets it.
hated. He's just not a very good wrestler. He's got like 3 moves and that's it. And he'll be
He's getting better though. He's getting better.
a little. Anyway, he's not beating Braun Breaker, so I'm not particularly concerned about it.
You know what, man? I think it's time, dude. Finally, we can't. Let's be honest, dude, and we'll get to this main event now. We can't keep having this shit, man, with Braun Breaker. He needs to lose, and I think Grayson Waller is the guy to do it, man. And it's due. It's due for that to happen. And just quietly, Jeff, homeboy in the chat says, I would love to have Jeff Lippman on my show. We can discuss old wrestling era versus today. Man, he's everywhere lately.
Call my people.
He's in popular demand.
Listen, if I can do it, I will make it happen.
He's a lawyer.
If I can do it,
Look at him.
I would be happy to.
Oh boy, look at him. He just gave you a fucking left hook, homeboy. I wouldn't take that.
Well,
Anyway, talk to
I
his
said if
people,
we
like
can
you
make
said.
it happen, I'm happy to do it. But in what way is that a slight?
I'm joking. I'm just stirring the
No,
pot.
it's funny.
Relax, Jeff.
Yeah,
All good.
that was part of our show today when I was with the vet and the Big Ray, and we were all agreeing that
What?
we're not no-selling your jokes; they're just not funny.
Oh, I'm going to listen to that. Anyway, Mr. Yuck in the chat says Sanger and Via have potential but could use a mouthpiece. Is there anyone who could be a modern day Bobby the Brain for some of these guys? If they paired Jinder Mahal with them, would it hinder them? It would ginger them, as a matter
It
of
would
fact.
hinder them, which is worse than hindering them. But I agree that they're fantastic.
Exactly.
Could anyone be a mouthpiece for them? I mean, Malcolm Bivens could have been, but he's gone.
Via. Via can talk.
You know who could?
He talks like this, Jeff.
And I think that she's still available, and I know that they say that they're
Don't-
not
don't
interested in wrestling any longer, but I don't think it's true. Billy Kay, when Billy Kay was just doing the talking,
No.
absolutely.
Do you want to get annoying to the max here? Imagine this. Sanger, Via, and Billy Kay being the mouthpiece. Are you kidding
Awesome.
me, dude?
It would be excellent.
That is absolute. Wow, that's heat, dude.
but you know,
and I'm not talking about. I'm talking about go away heat. That shit is like.
No, she was hysterical. But you know what? There's an absolute overabundance of female talent on the WWE roster,
That's true.
including the Performance Center and NXT. And there's some that are not really that great at wrestling, or just because of other reasons, it doesn't look like they're going to have, as big a future as some others. But they can talk, and so there's probably some like that. That we can find. I can't think of someone offhand. I know he was with the South American ladies for a while. We were supporting them, and one damaged her knee real bad. But they're not really good talkers. But I don't know. I will give it some. I mean, I think that Wade Barrett, but he's great on the mic. But now with Pat McAfee coming back, I mean, he's really tall, but they're really big. So I think it could work there. And by the way, there's still people out there. Selena De Laurenta is out there in the universe.
Oh, I can't believe she hasn't been picked up, dude. I can't
Me
believe it.
either. It's strange. But yeah, I definitely think that they would be. But to be frank with you, I like them talking. I like the chemistry they have. I like Sanga's sort of the giant gentleman, but right now he's being the I'm going to beat you gentleman, not the I'm nice and trying to help you gentleman. But still, I mean, I like it. You know who could be a great spokesperson for them, but I'm not sure what his status is with being on TV is. His lordship.
Yeah, neither do I.
Though that does
Yeah,
smack a little
true.
bit of colonialism.
It does, actually. I could pay Regal being the mouthpiece. Actually, Regal apparently is going to get a vice president spot.
Executive
Possibly in WWE,
vice
apparently.
Executive
I
vice president.
see. I
There's
see
no
what you did there.
accident. There's
Wink,
no
wink.
accidents here.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny, though. But, yeah, it is what it is. Oh, Jeff, let's go on to the next segment, though, man. Because we get a Cora Jade video package as Drew Gulak is interviewed backstage. He says he hasn't felt able to reach his full potential, but he blames himself. And he has an idea how to get there. He didn't come here to complain. He came here to grind in the ring. And if he sees someone he can help and who can help him, strength in numbers, as Damon Kemp then rolls up and shakes hands. And Gulak says he knows who he is. And Kemp tells him he should keep an eye out when he schools Duke Hudson on Tuesday. Drew wishes him luck as commentary hypes up Lyra Valkyria, her debut next week. Anything to report here, Jeff?
No, I mean, this is fine. Gulak hasn't been doing anything on the main roster. His PowerPoint thing was funny. It looks like he's scouting some talent. It looks like he's got a little program with Chase U. Maybe he'll be counter-recruiting.
Yeah.
What I would love to see would be recruiting videos where Andre Chase and Drew Gulak are going to like families' homes, like for potential wrestlers, and going and recruiting them. And Gulak comes in with his PowerPoint, and Andre Chase starts being charming, and then all of a sudden something pisses him off, like so someone spills hot tea on him, and so he goes, "What the fuck is going? What kind of family is this one?" Oh, sorry. And Thea Hale is scaring the dad and all this. I don't know. I just think it would be wrestle crap hysterics. And it looks like Drew Gulak is trying to make a play for Hudson, a little bit Damon Kemp, who's been listless ever since the Diamond Mine thing. Not that I'm a big Damon Kemp fan. He just doesn't have the look. I know he could kill me in 1,000 ways. I know he's a world-class Olympic-level wrestler. Anyway, yeah, this is fine. This was all right. Listen, it was better than K&K Dance Factory trying to act, and anything is better with Jensen. And by the way, I talk about Jensen because I like Fallon Henley and I like Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs has something.
So yeah, I agree. What's happened to the fucking Super Diva, man? Just went missing.
This is like Bloody Mary. Don't say the name 2 more times. That experiment. I hope
He'll be back.
Guy was terrible to look at. Did not
I found it funny.
have a big personality. Didn't have a big personality. And you know what? Dalton Castle does it better. Pretty Deadly do it better. Lots of people do it better. He was gross to look at. He's not a good wrestler, and he doesn't have an interesting personality. For someone who calls himself a super diva and basically dresses like Elton John meets Superman, he's dull.
Wow,
you can't look like that and be dull.
Well, speaking of dull, let's move on to the main event, Jeff, because we had Apollo Crews versus Bron Baker.
For the main event.
Yes, unfortunately, for your NXT championship. Dude, this match sucked for me, man.
Yeah, I mean,
It
listen.
just did. I don't know why.
It was
Maybe I was gassed by this point, but
yeah, this was just a match. The match was fine, but the other matches.
Really, it didn't have any personal. They were hanging out together during the lead up. What the fuck was this shit?
Right. And what needed to happen is that Apollo needed to turn heel on this and go crazy. I mean, but they're boring. They're 2 boring guys. They're the same guy. They're both between 5'10" and 6 feet. They're both between 230 and 245. They're both strong as hell. They're both fast as hell. They're both quick as hell. They both lack personality. I mean, it's basically 2 straight ahead baby faces. And this was the story. This was basically Braun's wrestling himself. It's the first. He's wrestled bigger guys. He's wrestled speedier guys. He's wrestled technicians. He's wrestled crazy people. He's wrestled veterans. He's wrestled British strong style. He's wrestled Russian strong style with Dragunov. He's.
But has he wrestled Aussie Kangaroo style, which he will soon?
That's his next challenge, Aussie Kangaroo style. That's right.
Bounce.
And we're going to find out what it'll be.
Wallaby, I like it. That's a good
see
one.
if he can take a pouch.
That's actually quite great. Well, if he stays in the pouch, he'll be bouncing all over. He'll be bouncing all over Bron Breakker, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, just remember that the wrestling takes place in the ring.
What? Oh, the square dingo. Circle. You mean?
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. Exactly. This match was nothing. It was fine. And then there was this weird break where, again, they made sure that you saw that Apollo Crews was having a vision in the middle of the match, and so everyone stopped for 20 seconds, which was dumb, especially since his vision didn't come true, which is his first vision, which didn't come true. He should really be questioning the gods old and new. Maybe you should consult with Isla Dawn or Ilya Valkyria, or whatever her name is, Lyra or Scarlet or
Valkyria.
What's her first name? Lyria? Chlamydia charistica.
It was Lyra.
Right, Chlamydia charistica.
It was exactly. Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Anyway.
Well, Bron Breakker ends up winning by pinfall with the spear, retaining his NXT Championship. I want to say one thing about Apollo Crews. You know what his problem is, man? To me, he looks too small, even compared to Breakker, right? And I feel like he's in the limbo sort of spot. He's kind of too big for the cruiserweights, but too small for the heavyweights. If that makes sense.
I think they're going to turn him heel, and I think he's the one that right now they've penciled in to take the belt from Braun before they move Braun up to the main roster, just because it's safe.
Really?
I don't think they have anyone else.
Dude. Nah. Crews is cold.
Mello, I think, is going to...
got way more...
Well, Mello, I think, is going to be on the main roster. I think they're wasting his time. And
surely.
I'm not sure. I've been wrong about this for 2 months.
But Whaler... I don't know. I feel like Whaler's got way more momentum than even Apollo Crews does, and I feel like no one gives a shit about Apollo, man. He's a lot better than that, Jeff, but he's improved tenfold. I feel like the fans are behind him. No one cares about Apollo. I don't care about Apollo. I don't care.
You're right. They don't care about Apollo. You
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He gets no reaction, dude. Really. He just, they just clap along because they feel like they have to.
Well, his gimmick is weird.
Just so they're not rude.
This is about his fourth gimmick.
What is he, dude? What the fuck is he?
Right.
But what is he?
And, the things in the
diner
talking
like
were
he's from
okay.
Africa. Now.
But the fishing stuff was stupid. Fishing is boring. They were boring fishing. They were boring together fishing.
It is boring.
They have no chemistry talking together. What they look like is that they're two dull jocks. That they're cool guys in high school because they're good at sports, but they've always had things handed to them because they're good at everything. So they've never had to develop a personality because they don't need one. And so they're just talking to each other, but even their conversation is boring. But they don't know they're boring, so they think their conversation is fine.
You're funny. Yeah, well, something needs to give. But as far as Bron Breakker goes, for me, he looks the part, dude. You can't deny that. That's the thing, man.
4-tool player.
And that's what I mean. Apollo, yeah, I get you. But Apollo is, like I said, he's in limbo, whereas Bron, you'll get used to him being in the main event spot on the main roster, if you know what I mean.
I feel like this whole thing with Braun is being very forced, and I feel like the way AEW fans have invested so much in AEW,
it is. It's similar to Roman Reigns.
I think that
it's similar to the Roman Reigns push.
Yeah, but Roman Reigns had leukemia and then came back with a completely different character. I mean,
no, but I'm talking about before that. Even I'm talking about when they were really
hated Roman Reigns until he came back with a completely different character.
Right, but what? He's a narcissistic, arrogant, full of himself prick now. I mean,
he got a personality as a mob boss. I'm the tribal chief. I mean, And that's what I'm saying.
True, I guess.
The tool that Braun is missing is a personality and a persona. He's got physically, he's got it all. He's a good enough wrestler. He'll only get better. He's got the look. He's got the build. He's got the pedigree. You know, and the fans want to like him. The WWE fans love him as much as AEW fans love fucking Orange Cassidy. So, he's someone who, if they want to bring him up quickly, they need to give him a spokesperson. Like they might need to give him a Paul Heyman or an MVP or something. You know, someone to speak.
Oh, he'd be great. I think he'd be great with a Paul Heyman, but have him sort of like what was the team called again? With Rotunda, Barry Windham, back in the
US
NWA,
Express.
dude. That's it. No, it wasn't something else.
You talking about the Varsity Club?
The Varsity Club. That's it. Have him like sort of like the Varsity Club sort of style. Even with Heyman behind him, if that makes sense.
You know who honestly would be a good spokesperson for him, and who I'm pretty sure is available?
Kurt Angle.
Tully. No,
Kurt Angle.
Tully Blanchard.
Tully, yeah.
And Arn would also be a good.
Scott Steiner would be brilliant though.
Wow.
Imagine Scott Steiner behind him though, as a heel.
When Scott.
Yeah, but that would be brilliant, dude. Come on. Oh, don't say that. God, why'd you have to say that, dude? Jesus.
He had open heart surgery a year ago. Does people not remember?
I know. Do you wonder why?
No, I don't wonder why, but I'm not the one putting him on TV as a spokesperson. When I mean, he's like.
I think it would be great though.
No, Scott
Steiner,
Steiner,
the big bad booty daddy,
would have been a great
breaker.
spokesperson. Scott Steiner now is basically Ryback or Billy Graham. He's crazy and angry.
Oof. All right. I mean, I'm just saying you could. I don't know.
You need
but
someone who's still a worker in the business.
I think the Heyman thing is good. If you go Varsity Club, Bron Breakker, I think would work. You just have him treat him like he's cut off the.
Well, isn't Alpha Academy basically that? So if you ever made Alpha Academy series again, Chad Gable's a good talker. If he stops going thank you and shoosh, and they stop being Butcher and the Blade.
Yeah, but he's got to stop that shit.
Right.
Yeah. You think he's got to stop that shit? Otherwise, he'll just be looked at as a joke.
Right.
I'm talking about Breaker.
Right. But yeah, that's fine. I'm down with him having a spokesperson. That's the tool he's missing. So if someone else can be the personality, that works. That's been done in wrestling.
Imagine it was CM Punk, the cult of personality, Jeff.
Well,
as a spokesperson, imagine that.
The man had personality.
Could it work?
Sure.
Yeah, it's something.
I mean, there's no Nikki Bella, but.
Well, true. Well, I would have given Final Battle, which I never said, about a 2.5 stars. And this, I would probably give a 3.5 because it was more, how can I say, sort of watchable throughout the show, if that makes sense. I like the pacing of the show.
I really felt the Final Battle was not a pay-per-view, and it actually cost me money. It had one spectacular match and 3 matches that were pretty good, or good. The rest of it, so...
But not pretty deadly, Jeff.
This is a scale of 5. I mean, it's hard to give a failing grade when you had that one match on it, but it's only one match. What do you say, 2.5?
That's why I said 2.5. Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5, but I mean, it's only that high because of FTR Briscoes. Yeah,
and Swerve in our glory holes.
Yeah, but there's a 10 or 11 match, show, and there's 2 matches that are good and one that's spectacular. I mean, that's 3 out of 10. I mean, which is 1.5 out of 5. It's just that one match was spectacular.
Mind you, one was for free, essentially, because now WB Network is a channel on my cable provider, so that's great. So and the other one cost how much?
DeadLine. See, I grade NXT on its brevity and because it's developmental, and I think the Iron Survivor match performed better than anyone could have expected. It was not confusing botch fest, and people weren't running into each other. It wasn't difficult to keep track of everything. So I'm going to give the show, and it was relatively short. So I'm going to give the show 4 out of 5.
I'll go 3.5
on a
out
scale.
of 5.
Yeah, but
Above average.
I'm grading it on a junior varsity scale.
Yeah, nice. Absolutely nice. Perfect. Well, Jeff, I think we can take it home. It was a good, quick hour of NXT fun with DeadLine right here on the PWC Network. But tell them where they can find you, man.
On Twitter, you can find me at IcarusFellMD. You can also find me right here on the PWC and the other fine networks that we cross-pollinate with, which include Channel Attitude, where you can find us on Cage. Well, it's usually, I always am. Also on Hameen Media Group, where you can also see on Cage, and many of our shows find their way to those channels as well. My non-wrestling podcasts are on Hameen Media Group, as well as the PWC, as well as the PW Hustle, as well as the Wrestling Soup Network, and that's Garden of Doom and Garden Views. Garden of Doom is eclectic, esoteric, mythology, cryptids, ufology, things that go bump in the night, history, alternate history, spirituality, shamans, witches, vampires, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my! And Garden Views is a cousin show. It's typically more topical, like topics like cannabis law or the law of the sea. A lot of space law tie-ins. That's sort of a little obsession of mine. So check that stuff out. And my other wrestling podcasts, which you can find on almost all the networks I just mentioned, including the PWC, is Hammerlock Hangover, which is bi-weekly with my tag team partner, Big Daddy Cool Steve Pena. The next show is going to be our end-of-year report card on our predictions from last year, our awards for this year, and our predictions going for 2023, as well as discussing all the news that's fit in wrestling. And by next Thursday, we'll probably know a little bit more about Vince McMahon, a little bit more about Mandy Rose, a little bit more about this, a little bit more about that. What we won't know any more about is Ring of Honor, but how lousy the frickin' TV that's not TV, that's totally TV, but totally not a TV deal, for the same price of Honor Club before, without even a bulk discount. And the pay-per-views are extra, unless you want to wait 90 days to watch a pay-per-view on Honor Club for $9.99 a month. It's unconscionable. Oh, but it's got the Ring of Honor library on it, which, by the way, like 88% of it's on YouTube.
And it's easy to find anyway, man. Absolutely easy to find. So, yeah. TK is a fucking idiot. I'm going to say it right now. He's a fucking idiot. If he thinks people are going to sign up, especially 90-day delay of the pay-per-views, get fucked, TK.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Didn't work for TNA, NWA. It didn't work for TNA. It didn't work for NWA. This is not a mall. I know that you have obsessive fans, but they love AEW. They don't love Ring of Honor so much. There's no reason this should work, and I giggle because everyone was telling me he's got TV in the bag. He's definitely getting the experts, Brandon Thurston, Zarian, and some of them, they're not being evil. They're nice. They're positive. But Thurston pretends he's a
HBO Max.
Jesse Collins, Brandon Thurston. A lot of people pretending that they're media experts. When he gets the TV deal straight out, like when, not if. And all these people out there on the internet reporting that HBO Max is confirmed. It just needs to be announced. And all the time I'm going, what are you looking at? They're canceling all the superhero movies. They just canceled Wonder Woman 3, and you're telling me that they're going to put Ring of Honor on TV with the what do you see? What rods connect for you? And thank God the world does make sense in the end. It's a confusing place, but certain things make sense, and everything I saw turned out to be correct. Good. And maybe people realize that even a billionaire doesn't have that much power over network because they're multi-billionaires and they don't answer to the billionaire. They already gave, yes, he got on because he was a billionaire, because they're the influence, and they're like, why not? We're getting a sweetheart deal. And, by all accounts, it's worked out okay. But more? No, I mean, look at Rampage. Look at Battle Bell. So what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Stable, my friends.
I will say before we go that I would have paid $10 for Honor Club if the pay-per-views were in line, like live. You know what I'm saying?
And I would have let you share your screen.
But, yeah, well, whatever. I'm cool with that, right?
Why would I pay $10 a month for Honor Club when I was paying $4.99 for the WWE Network, and now I'm paying $0 for Peacock?
Yes, likewise.
Who needs to pay for more
for the WWE Network? Literally $0 WWE Network on my cable provider. I mean,
if I really wanted more wrestling, there's plenty of indies on YouTube, and I could do a better job of searching for Level Up, or I could watch Dark Elevation. I mean, just with that minimal effort, I could find 5 more hours of wrestling with no effort.
It's true. It's quite easy because there's so much fucking of it. But yeah, It is what it is. Well, if you want to follow me, you can on Twitter at PWC Network, and also right there at DJ MassFX. Please like and subscribe right here at the PWCNetwork.podbean.com, where you can find all our shows. Also at channelattitude.com with $5. You get to hear us talk AEW, and more specifically AEW Rampage every Friday night. And also, please like and subscribe at The Hustle, the $1 Wrestling, the Blow Off, and HummyMediaGroup.podbean.com. In saying that, I'm Jimmy T, that is Evil Dose Jeff Lippman, and you've been listening and watching the PWC NXT DeadLine Review Show right here on the PWC Network. And we're out. See yous.
Here comes Perez because the clock hit 0. Perez cutting off James, and wow! Nasty scope for James. Hartwell just starting to move. Perez saw the clock. Perez doesn't have a fall, boy.
Vic, this is just the first match. And I almost can't talk anymore. Come on, Roxanne. You can do it.
Perez flying through the air. High cross body. Connects perfectly, and there's Jade. Jade out of nowhere breaking up the count.
Jade's always trying that thorn in Roxanne's side. She doesn't want to see Roxanne succeed in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And I get it. 2 young Generation Seals. Oh, man.
Behind Stark might have just knocked out Perez and Stark now. Could be looking for her second fall on Perez. If she can connect, Perez goes up, goes over, goes around, shoulders down.
She got it.
Couldn't break the count. Albert Fire was on the cusp of winning the NXT Women's Championship. And Dawn looking for...
Vic, I'm learning something tonight about all the Dawn. Oh, wow.
Near fall. Fire able to turn things around once again. And I don't know if maybe Alba Fire came into this match a little
beautiful.
But now,
coming from the heavens, Vic.
This is the moment for Fire. Did you see Fire land and grab her ribs? Did you see her take that deep breath? And the official I think McDonough grabbed Axiom, and is this wise? Axiom turned his attention to McDonough.
May not be wise, but this is payback. I get it. I understand. Right now, Axiom has an axe to grind, and he's doing it.
They're fighting in the penalty box. Ooh! Well, Axiom getting the better of that exchange. And now, refocusing. Oh, jeez. But at what cost, though? Axiom
right now, this is not about winning right now for Axiom. Axiom is caught in the moment. Right now, he's got JD on the mind.
Hall of Fame panel described Waller as rude, arrogant, and cocky. And you could say the same about Carmelo Hayes. Apollo in this moment just became a different version of Apollo Crews. We got to think, look, we talk about visions, we talk about going back to 2015. This is what Apollo Crews came back here to do. He came back to become the NXT champion, and he might have just done it in a near fall breaker able to kick out.
I feel like you've been held down. This is what happens right here. The beasts come out of you. And right now, I must say, this is a different Apollo Crews. I don't know this guy right here. This is a different guy.
And looking to complete the trifecta of German suplexes and quickly Crews right back into the cover. Another hook of the leg and breaker again. Able to kick out at 2. But the eyes book of Apollo Crews. We haven't seen this in June.
I don't know this guy, but I like him. I like him a lot.
And now the PWC, the Pro Wrestling Coalition, is on the air for the most exciting 2 hours of professional wrestling podcasting in the world. We're gonna put butts in seats and ears to the streets. And now, here are your hosts, Jimmy T and Jeff Lippman.